someone flicks me a body. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. You are now tuned into the weigh-in. This ain't the final boss, but this is Ray for you right now. We're in the building, obviously, Ramadan Mubarak to all those observing this Ramadan. But today we don't have Abbas, but we do have. It's not even a special guest no more. This is our regular correspondent, Ashanti. How you doing, man?
I'm well, thank you. All the better for speaking to you. It's been an interesting week in boxing, should we say? So looking forward to chatting with you about it. I'm sure you've got many views, lots of strident views on it.
First thing off the weekend, I got a message from Ashanti straight away, lambasting Tank and others. But before we get into that, here's a message from our sponsor. Come on, man. You already know it is. Tracksuit looking comfy. Use the promo code iBoxingHub24 and get that 40% off, just like it says there. But let's get into it. This last weekend, big boxing showcase. We already know what it is when Tank fights. It may not be against the best opponent, but it's still a spectacle. However, he was not expecting this banana slip that had come. Lamont Roach, the second time Tank's brought up someone from the, super featherweight division to come up to lightweight. And boy, did this backfire. A guy that, I'm sure he probably went in there thinking, this is a guy that I grew up on the local scene with. Let me give him a nice payday whilst looking good myself. And boy, I guess Lamont Roach knew more about Tank than he thought, because he stood in the pocket with him when many don't. He traded blows with him at times when many don't. And he gave him just as good of a fight. And there was even a controversial knee. But Ashanti, you had your grievances, so I'm going to let you go for it.
It hurts me to say as well, because I think Tank's probably my favourite current fighter. Obviously, he's a bit inactive, but my favourite fighter is Adrian the Problem Broner. But I don't know if we can, back him to be having too many fights currently. But Tank he's just like him, light-skinned. We're both tall, Tank and I, so that's why I'm a big fan of him. I don't know what's happened here, Ray. I don't know. I didn't realize Eddie Griffin was on stage or something. I don't know what's happening.
No comment.
But yeah, he's obviously a short guy, and he's always and even more trivial. I love The Wire. I think it is my favorite show, and
absolutely,
the fact he's
top tier
from where it's set.
Baltimore too.
But his coach, Calvin Ford, was a character in The Wire. I mean, if you're a fan, that tie-in is just incredible. So from the start with the Mayweather thing as well, coming up through the weights, just looking incredible. Always been a fan, but we've got to say, is it the World Boxing Tank Commission? Because I have truly never seen anything like it. I don't know how you turn away, you take a knee, and then the referee just allows you to do that and has your face wiped, and the fight just continues. I mean, I'm sure his lawyers are doing it, his management team and stuff, but I think Lamont Roach is too nice a guy, because I think maybe not in the press conference just afterwards, you might not know exactly, you're still a bit, there's a lot of energy going on, adrenaline, so you wait. But Sunday afternoon, I'm maybe doing a vlog on Insta or TikTok, whatever medium you need to use, because it's it's a joke. I've never seen anything like it.
Listen, do you know? To build on that, I feel like how Lamont acted in the ring was very good, because I get what you're saying about how he could have been more angry, but I feel like in that situation, with the unprofessional balance that Tank had just shown, from the need to how he's acting to the quote unquote excuses he was making, it was good to see Lamont more relaxed in the ring. He took on the gym as a professional. And then when it came to the post-fight press conference, that's when you saw more like, it's almost like you said, adrenaline's wore off. He's calmed down. He's assessed the situation more. And it's kind of like, it's kicked into him that, do you know what? I've been screwed big time. And the fact that Tank was saying there might not be a rematch for this is egregious, because the Isaac Cruz fight, fair enough. But this fight was more like, no, this was a legitimate draw. And you could have had a point deducted for taking that knee. So technically you could have lost. And especially the fact that in terms of Roach humanizing Tank in a way that he hasn't been done in a long time, that warrants a rematch. And in all honesty, if he's not going to face Shakur next, or if he's not going to face Keyshawn or Lomachenko, I think he would face, but I don't know what Loma's doing right now. So I think Roach is the right match for Tank right now, to be fair. Just keep him busy, make a statement, and if you're not going to face Shakur, then get back in blood with Roach.
I unfortunately think that Tank should retire. I think in almost all sports, when someone starts talking about retirement, but particularly in boxing, a sport where you don't have teammates or colleagues to bail you out, or someone's gets a lucky penalty, it's you and the other person, and they can really inflict lifelong, long-lasting damage to you. You probably should bail out, and I think this performance proves that. I'm not trying to be a Tank homer, but I think Tank, that I'm not saying he didn't train hard or he doesn't want to win, because he clearly does. You don't put yourself through making weight not to do it. But I just think that maybe 2%, a couple of percent just goes from you. And when you're talking about high level sports, that's all that needs to not be there for you to start losing or drawing or not have the desire. And I was talking about it the weekend. I don't think he has the desire anymore. I think in the UK, it's hard for us to understand. I think Tank has made silly amounts of money, like compared to, I wouldn't be shocked if he's made the best part of $100 million in his career.
Oh, listen, I don't know about 100.
Have you heard how much he made in the Ryan Garcia fight alone?
No. But remember, that's probably his highest earner.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But you only need to then have had 3 fights of $10 million to now be on 70, and then you've got another 18 fights to make 30 million. So we're not. I think this Roach fight, he's probably made 10, 15 mil. They reckon.
Yeah, he's made a nice healthy amount. But
so whatever it is, he's 29, comes from pretty tough background.
Yeah.
And even if he's made 20 million, that's
more than enough. Yeah, that's more than enough.
And the DMV, that's an insane amount of money. And I think he's got quite a few children, 3, maybe 4 young children. And I think he's still doing the runs, but that kind of extra run up the hill that you might want to do to prove that you're going to be in tip-top shape and that no one's tougher and rougher than you. I don't know if he's doing that. I think he's going home and watching his children on the swings instead of watching boxing or whatever it is. And yeah, I think once that happened, I think we've seen it with Deontay Wilder. We knew that Deontay went.
No. I'll drag you by your cape. Don't do that. No, we're not comparing Deontay to this. No.
What, you mean a heavyweight boxing world champion who knocked out some
Deontay? No. Let's not get twisted. Deontay was a guy with limited ability who I'll give it to him. He overachieved for the amount of time, for the time period that he was in boxing. He overachieved but he has not got a top win, and that is not by choice. Tank, on the other hand, has the ability to, face the top guys. He chooses not to for whatever reason. I think he's just trying to maximize, like you said, financial wise, he's doing what he's supposed to do. That small window of opportunity you have in boxing, maximize it. And it's similar to Ra's comment saying about Nassim Hamed. I don't think he's at that point where he's earned too much before facing the elite. I don't think it's about how much he's earned. I think it's two things. With Tank, you've gotten away with facing good opponents, like B+ opponents, but not A class opponents. And if you keep on doing that, eventually you're gonna fight to what you're fighting. And I feel like that's what's happened with Tank, where because you haven't, there's some fighters. If I use this name, everyone's gonna think I hate him. I don't hate him. I rate what he does, but let's be truthful. Canelo, for example, in the latter part of Canelo's career, he would face some A-class fighters, and then he would take it down a notch by facing a B-class fighter. But I honestly, because he's faced so many A-class fighters, I do not mind that. Whereas Tank, you've gotten so much money facing B-class fighters that now is like you haven't been used to having to push your body to the limits. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like this Lamont Roach fight was a mirror of that. It was a mirror of, because you haven't had to push yourself in a way that you've needed to, or that to the fullest capabilities. It's almost like when you needed to unlock that locker, the key was jamming. And it's almost like, I remember when the Olympics last year, when Kashane from Jamaica, and then he was like looking good in the heats and everything. And I remember one of my boys who watching, he's more into sprinting than me. And then he was talking about Kashane's not going to win the final. And I said, wait, don't you think like he's not running to his full capability? Don't you think he will? And he goes, no, that's his issue. You keep on holding back. And then when the time comes to actually unlock that final bit that you need, you're not going to know how to do it because you haven't been doing it. And then look what happened in the final. When he should have beaten Noah Lyles, he lost by an excruciating, like what 1/100th of a second. But that's what victory is sometimes.
But Noah Lyles is a competitor, and Americans breed competition certainly in sprinting and with their NCAAs. It's why so many Brits have gone over there recently and are having some success. I can't think of any sprinters off the top of my mind, but I know that there are a few that have.
There's
US for college.
Even Asher Smith, Asher Smith. But
in some of the younger ones that are 25 now went for college and are having. She's American but a Brit. But Nicole Yergin, who's a 400-meter runner, she I think was at USC, and they just say over a weekend you might have 4 high-level races, so that you don't get tired because you're prepped and you're used to it. And when you're always pushing, you know that you've got that. Whereas if you think you've got it in the tank, what happens if you don't? And that's not a pun. If you don't have it on that one day, you may have it next week or in 2 weeks. Doesn't matter if it's been the World Championships and you don't perform on that day. I don't need to hear that you did it in training 2 weeks later because I'm not watching.
But that's the thing. Going to Ra's comment that was just on display, where I do get it. Fighting the 2-minute elite opponents means more damage, but what the difference is, Tank hasn't been fighting the elite at all. Like I said, I don't mind when there's fighters that, you face elite, then, you face like an A grade fighter, then you take a B grade fight next. Then you face an A grade, then you take a B grade. I don't mind that. But with Tank, like I said, you haven't unlocked that final part because you've been getting away with, I don't need to take too much out of the locker and I'm knocking these guys out. And then Lamont Roach, pushed you at a time when you weren't expecting it. And then now it's just like,
I think it's a tremendous assessment from you. You're completely right. He thinks he's got it, and he's been playing a dangerous game anyway because utilizing that kind of I know I'm going to get to you. What if it fails?
It nearly did. The giving away the round stuff. Because before he was just so sure that I'm going to knock you out, so let me give away the rounds.
And someone who's got decent defensively he's got that dog in him. He's obviously got an amazing chin and that dog in him. Saw phased. Yeah, he might have lost as an amateur when they were younger, but I think it's a bit of familiarity. I saw an interview before the fight that Tank's been training a lot more with Barry Hunter, who's at the Headbangers gym, which I think is Peterson's gym. And Lamont Roach, Barry Hunter said he was there at the turn of the year. He was there in January sparring. I'm not saying they were in at the same time. It's just they're around the same people. They're around the same age. They're that that he kind of knows, and he clearly knows.
They've grown up in the same type of area, like the whole DMV and
hard guys too. I think that street tough, like
for sure.
Punch, but so can I, and I'm not taking a backward step. Yeah, East Coast for sure. So I have to say as well, I think he lost. If I'm being, and I don't like saying it, I think if he weren't a superstar, Lamont's getting that 7-5 without the deduction for
of course.
But we all know how the game goes. That
politics, as Lennox Lewis coined it, politics.
But also, it's every sport. It's not just in football.
I think boxing is just more in your face. The other sports at least try to address it. Boxing is just like, I don't even care. I'm not gonna lie. Boxing is just like, I'm just gonna lie in front of your face. Like, I'm not even gonna try with a lie.
It's one of the worst things about the sport when you watch cards with people that like boxing but don't watch a lot, and you're like, yeah, no, this is close. He's not going to win. And they're like, what do you mean, Ashanti? We've been kind of round scoring and we've been going back and forth and we think that the other guy's got more rounds. And I was like, yeah. Sure.
Do you know what's worse? Is the fact that with boxing, it's just, like you said, it's the knowing. Because we was having this discussion before in regards to when Jack Carroll lost his fight. And I said, do you know I feel more deflated for him? Because at the time that he should have been crowned undisputed, that was one of the most blatant robberies. Remember, I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, not only did Josh Taylor not get knocked down, not just get knocked down, he got a point deducted for foul play as well, isn't it, if I'm correct?
I think you're right, but I'm not.
And then for him to still not win, that was just like
egregious. And
that is the most deflating. I remember like Jack just didn't do a post-fight interview, and his coach done it, and then his coach even said it was like, "What do you want him to say? What more can you say when you rob someone like that?"
Yeah, I think I've mentioned before. In my heart, I see myself as Scottish. I'm half Scottish. My granny's Scottish. I'm a big Josh Taylor fan. What do you want me to? I think he won a Commonwealth gold for Scotland. In 2014. What did you want me to say after the fight? It's like, did anyone else watch it, or is it like, if someone goes, oh, it was really good. What did you think about the fight? It's like
robbery. And those type of is the level of in boxing is like you get insulted because it's like, why aren't you even trying to make this believable? Why are you not even trying a bit? Like that's what. So go on.
But there was another one that came to mind, and forgive me, I can't remember the guy's name, but I can see his face. Ricky Burns. I think he got a draw against this guy, but I think he was Puerto Rican or Dominican, and he battered Ricky Burns. I just remember, one of those ones where it's like, it's a nice little 8-4, 9-3 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think Ricky came out with the draw to keep the belts, and everyone was like,
wait, who was his promoter?
I think it was Frank Warren at the time. I think it. Give me 1 sec because I just want to get the name up, because I remember a fight and you're like, oh yeah, Ricky. And sadly, like what could happen, Jack Cattrall, I don't think that guy ever went on to win a world title because again, didn't have the right. Oh, Ray Beltran, I think it was. Yeah, it was a split draw. 20.
I think that's where it hurts more, because we know there's certain people where, as unfortunate as it is, this person's not getting another shot at the big time. Certain people, they're just not that marketable guy where you just look at them. If they get screwed over, look at my man that got screwed against Rowley, the old man that knocked out O'Hara Davis.
Is that Ismael Barroso?
Yeah, Ismael Barroso. Like, why has he not got his title shot yet? Like, what after he beat O'Hara, I'm thinking, wasn't he meant to get a title shot? And then I just haven't seen nothing from him since. And then now I don't even know who the WBA title list is. No, it's Antoine Russell that fought on the same card. Yeah, now he's become the champion. And it's just like, it's so unfortunate. But let's stay on 135 anyway. Let's go back on course. So Keyshawn obviously became champion a few weeks back on Valentine's Day. I saw him on the, Wallow's, Gillian Wallow's $1 million worth of game. I think he was saying how he just wants to fight someone with a name just to get his profile bigger, because he's champion now. The real money comes in with the names. He's obviously not going to fight Shakur, and I hope they don't, because this boxing game is corrupt. This boxing game does not love you. These fans do not love you. And if you have a genuine friendship, two things. If you have a genuine friendship, do not let this sport tear lifelong relationships because of, and there's difference, because I saw one video of Keyshawn and I said, I understand, because I think he's been sectioned before. He's spoken about it before. He's had battles with mental health. And then, he wasn't in a good place. And then he goes, in that moment, Shakur was there for him. And I said, you know what? Something deep like that is beyond boxing. That's like a lifelong friend type of thing to do. So if that's the case, I understand why they don't want to face each other. Because some people say they're friends, but you're not really friends. I call it boxing. There's boxing friends where it's just like,
we're cool, like,
we're cool, yeah. Like,
fights, we WhatsApp.
If it's not, but it's one of those ones. If it's not for boxing, you guys don't talk. Whereas Keyshawn and Shakur, I can tell that goes beyond that, and because of that, I don't want to see them fight. And secondly, there are some fights that I've seen between two friends where they're just holding back, and I said, this is pathetic. If you don't have in your heart to knock out who you're facing, there was a fight that happened recently. I forgot who it was. And you can tell, like, just between, they kept on mentioning it before. Yeah, these two friends grew up in the amateurs, blah, blah, blah. I forgot what fight it was. The name misses me at the moment.
They thought that a little bit about, was it Dan Aziz and Josh Boatty? I'm not saying they're the best of friends, but they thought that Josh could have gone.
Yeah, but that's, I think, honestly, if Boatty didn't know that he was up, I honestly think I think that's real. I think Boatty saw that, I'm up. I don't need to,
cruise
put the
control
pin on this fight. Yeah. Hey, shout out Abbas breaking his fast. But yeah, I think that's why sometimes when people are saying, like I said, there's friends and there's boxing friends. If boxing friends want to fight each other, go ahead. If they're genuine friends and you ain't got that kill switch, to like put that person's lights out if you need to, I don't want to see them fight. For what? You're paying for glorified sparring.
Has that kill switch anyway? I've never really seen it. Sorry,
it
was unnecessary, but it's true.
You know what? Yeah, that's hilarious. I feel like that whole Shakur hasn't got power thing is a bit overused. I get it. He hasn't got a kill shot power.
It took 9 rounds to stop Josh Padley, who was still jet lagged.
What do you want? Listen, if you've broken your...
I heard he was getting calls during the break.
Yeah, listen, there's an old lady out there.
Yeah,
there's an old lady out there whose lamp still ain't been fixed.
Wiring and all sorts. Yeah, Josh is just trying to... Sorry, Mrs. I'll try and call you back in literally 3 to 3.5 minutes because I should be back at my...
3 to 3.5 weeks more. Like I said... Imagine she's expecting to say, "Oh, where are you going to?" He goes, "Oh no," she's expecting to say, "Oh, that's down the road," and it's just like, "Oh yeah, that's down to Riyadh quickly."
Yeah.
But with Shakur, sometimes you're not blessed with that power, and secondly, with the hand issues on the amount of times he's broken his hand. I don't know if people have actually seen pictures of Shakur's hands.
He's got those
nothing
baby hands.
Listen, scarring here, there, and everywhere. You can just tell they've just been operated on so multiple times. So, guess what? I don't mind wanting to do a mini showcase, and you would eventually get a finish win. Yeah, what I've realized, and I've not even been the biggest fan of Shakur sometimes, because how he's moved after certain fights, I've not liked what he's had to say. But I feel like the Shakur hate is forced sometimes. And like when he calls himself the best and people get upset, I said, what do you want an elite fighter to think? You want them to be like, oh yeah, well, I'm kind of good. I think Tank will give me a good fight. Like, no, I want to hear that you're the best. And he backs it up, because we're not going to act like people haven't ducked him.
I think he's superb. I joke about it. People call him.
Yeah. Oh no, but I know you're not a troll. That's the
I
difference.
think he's superb, and I've liked him ever since that Joet Gonzalez fight, because the whole Gonzalez family tried to stick it on him, and he was having absolutely none of it.
He said, "Wait a minute, I've got you right there."
Beat up his son, and then just told them, I'm taking your daughter on holiday after this. Give her a call. Shakur's a bad man, and he was like 23 at the time and just did not care.
Man, I've not always been the biggest fan of him. I didn't expect this match this match with him and Matchroom, no pun intended. Him and Eddie Hearn seem to be working well. I hope that they can make the Cepeda fight after this, because the Golden Boy Protection Program, you already know how they do. Whether it's Zerdo, whether it's Munguia, whether it's I'll keep Virgil Ortiz out of it. Virgil Ortiz is the only one that I'd say he's been up.
I think Virgil wants smoke, if you see what I mean. Like, that's the difference.
Yeah, and I ironically
vibe where they're like, oh, I'm getting $2 million and I know he's not that good.
Yeah.
Fine, why would I take 3 to fight a killer? Whereas I think Virgil's like, no.
I know Oscar hates him for it. I know Oscar must absolutely hate the fact that he's got that dog in him. Because one thing Oscar does, he will milk a Latin American crowd until they gets the last bit of juice, and then he will say, okay, you can go fight for a title now.
Oscar will be in his high heels and will just be you'll just be oh sorry, I thought that was you that said it. He'll be in his high heels just selling 8,000 10,000 seater like sports centers to people, just being like, yeah, this is his 96th fight, and he's defending the interim title again, come out. It's Mexican.
What he done with Munguia's career is stalled it in a way. Go back to what we were saying about Tank. He got so used to facing lower tier fighters that when it's come for him to step up now, he can't, because you're so used. And I get the whole maximizing your time when you can, but I just feel like Oscar always takes the piss when it comes to same with Zerdo, same with Munguia. There's someone else.
He also gets them fights out of no. Isn't Jaime Munguia like 44-1 or so? Like
that's what I'm saying.
Zerdo the same. Zerdo was like 39-0. It's like
and then they try to do the whole impressive thing of look at all the people that he's beaten, and it's just like, you can't fool me, you can't trick me in my position. I know, I see through that record. It's like a Deontay Wilder record, like all these knockouts and no A-grade fighters, and the time he faced someone decent, he loses. He hasn't got an A-grade win.
I don't know what you're talking about. You don't think Beware was a great fighter?
I'm not even entertaining this, because
Haitian sensation.
You're wrong. There weren't nothing sensational about that Haitian. All respect.
Luis Ortiz.
Luis Ortiz is older than he says that he is. Stop the nonsense.
He is. I think he's 52. No, I'm not even joking.
And listen, great boxer for 52. Great boxer, but if past it, Luis Ortiz is your best win, it's not a good look, bruv. Word to Castillo, but
can we go back though? Not being rude. Can we go back? I know it's only £5, so I think I would love Turkey to put on, and Gervonta might not want to be involved, but if he were, some kind of tournament between 135 and 140 where Zepeda, Shakur, Keyshawn Davis, Andy Cruz, Tank.
Let's keep Zepeda out of this. Zepeda has, until Zepeda faces his mentor or Shakur, I don't want to hear Cepeda's name. Have some balls and go for a belt. Absolutely nasty business. But 130, I don't know too many. No, well, Ray Ford is at 130, but I don't think he hasn't got a belt yet, has he? He's making his way up the rankings.
He said everyone's ducking him.
I believe it.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
But he's so undersized. That's my problem with him. He
130.
Body shape, he looks a bit like Tank, but without that explosive power.
It's a weird one, because he's too big for 126, but 130 is like, he's not the biggest. But let's listen, man. Eddie's abandoned the UK pretty much, so let's see how he works his magic in the US. He's pretty much, US and Australia promote right now.
I don't know if I agree with that. I've seen some of the fights that guys like Junaid Bostan have had, and some really high level fights.
Conor Ben picture is hilarious. Let's not. Conor, he is cashing out with Conor. Them two are cashing out, and kudos to him for cashing out.
You know, like if two men are cheaters and one of them calls one a cheater in like a nightclub or in a bar, and he's like, "Yeah, well, you cheated on your girlfriend." That's what they both are to each other. Because Connor was like, "You'll do anything for money." It's like, mate, you spent £1 million on lawyers, and like we know that your parents are rich, but you haven't got much now. And Chris, it's like, "Oh, you could have fought Janabek," and Chris is like, "Hmm."
Do you know what? I don't mind. You
And
see, no.
I don't know what
You see,
Kazakh
Chris.
is really.
Do you know what it is? Chris Eubank. I don't like the fact they went this route, but I respect the route that Chris Eubank went, where he's just like, I don't care about belts. I just want to get paid. I'm a prize fighter. I'm cashing out. I'm not going to work with a world-class coach and, go for a belt. And it upset me because when he got with Bomac, I was thinking, wow, this is the world championship material. And then he just decided, nah, I've given you too much money. No, let me go back to the trainers. I can tell what to do. And
can I say two things though?
Go on.
Do you know how much organic eggs cost in supermarkets now? So he's got to make his money. Like, eggs aren't cheap.
Yeah, but eggs ain't cheap. He cracked one on.
That's what I'm saying. He's got to get his money up because he bought all those eggs, put them in that jacket, and they burst inside. So things aren't cheap. And secondly, I did hear rumours though that Bomac, because he now can't get back into the UK, that was part of the decision. I'm not trying to say too much, but
do you know what? I'm glad you clarified that.
And as a fighter, even if it's your assistant in the corner, whatever it may be, I would want he knows he's largely going to be fighting in the UK. He may do a couple fights in America, but say he's got 5 fights left, he would have 3 in the UK. I wouldn't want my trainer not to be with me, not just on fight night, even during the week. So
I was so upset about that because I remember watching that fight. I'm saying, this is the perfect, all that Roy Jones Jr. tribute act he was doing before. I was just like, this ain't serving no one. This is horrible. Why is he still with Roy Jones Jr.? Seeing him with Bomac was just like, wow, they finally got all the puzzle pieces together. And then now that you said the whole thing with Bomac, probably doesn't want to come to the UK anytime soon because of what happened.
No, he can't. He's bound.
Well, he can't.
It was part of it. It was like, we're not going to send you to prison. We're going to give you everything but prison time, but you can't come back to the UK. Like, he genuinely can't.
Oh, that's annoying. That's a shame.
Uncharged. Like, the man's lucky he's not in prison. But
parents
offered loads of money in his corner, so and the government as well. I know he's only a boxing trainer, but the government don't want like super famous boxing trainers who train like the best fighters in the world in prison for something that's legal in his home country and clearly was a mistake. It's not like.
Well, I mean, they had promoters that were. I'm not gonna say it. No, I don't want them. I don't want those people after me.
I don't want any suing. But the Bomac thing it's true. He's actually banned. So, and I think Jonathan Banks will be good. Who's Jonathan Banks worked with? Golovkin.
Listen, man. I don't know. Is that who Eubank's working with now?
Yeah.
At this point, that person's just, listen, man. Eubank's just there, like, yo, I need you to hold pads for me. I'm gonna fight like how I want to fight anyway. So it don't matter what you say.
Chris, stick to the jab, and Chris is just like,
yeah, hold my pads. Give me water during the breaks. I'm doing my own thing. And you know what? I saw an interview with Chris the other day. He goes, I don't watch boxing. I don't care about boxing. He just does it to prize fight, and he does it to stay in shape. That's one thing I'll give it to him. He stays in shape. But then I think he even said it must have been with seconds out because Eubank was just told them like, I watch UFC more than boxing. And they were just like, it's a bit blasphemous to say it on the boxing channel. It was just like, that's the truth. Like, he was just like, I don't care. Like, he was like, I'd rather be playing poker with Neymar. And that's when I realized, you know what? Fair enough. The guy wants to get paid and he's just cashing out on the family name. It's a shame he didn't push himself like he could have near the end of his career. But at the same time, if you can get more money for fighting lesser opponents.
Can I ask for your prediction on Conor? What do you think? Who do you think?
Eubank's winning.
Do you think?
Especially if Conor without the drug. Listen, if Conor was on that stuff, I might have been like, do you know what? He might get him out of it. Unless he can find a new designer drug to like inject himself with. And what do they call it in sprinting again? The clear. Unless he can get himself hands on the clear, then you know, Conor's not being able to knock out people in his own division, let alone, you know, someone in a higher bracket. And I feel with Eubank, has he regressed a bit? Yep. Is he nearly done? Absolutely. But I also believe that he should have enough, just on pure size and experience, he should have enough in the tank to beat Ben. And it will be 3-0 Eubank legacy against the Ben legacy.
He should. We veered into it, so I'd love to talk about it. I think he should almost be able to win just with a jab. I know that sounds over the top, but no, not to be disrespectful. I mean,
no, I know what you're saying, but it's more about the anticipation for the. I'm thinking more about the anticipation for the fight. He's just going to go in there and jab his head off.
On the pitch, he looked 4 times the size of Conor Benn. But I'm a tiny man, but I've met Conor Benn a few times. They've been lying about his height for a long. Maybe he wears lifts.
He's saying he's shorter than he is.
Wait, they say he's like 5'8", 5'8.5". He's 5'6.5". Truly, there's a picture of he and I together, and he is not that much bigger than me. And if he's 5'8.5", I'm like 5'7" then, and that's what I might have to put on dating profiles. But he's true. Like, no, if he were, I would say it. But he's just like, whenever they say it, I'm like, he is not the height that they're saying that he is, because one thing I wanted to mention, Tony Sims is a great trainer and a good guy.
Yes.
I thought he was extremely dismissive of Liam Smith, the way that they were speaking, as if that I don't know if it was Nigel or Tony or both, and they were like, oh yeah, he punches harder than Liam Smith. And I'm just like, what's happened here? Like, whatever you want to say about Liam Smith was a legitimate WBO world champion. Liam Williams was good when he fought him. He's fought Canelo. I'm sure he's fought loads of like good guys. He fought Eubank. Liam Smith's a like solid, good like champ, like fighter. And the way they're just like, Conor Benn's now 28, regardless of this of the ban. He's 28 now. He's like banging into his career. What's he done for us to? He's beaten a few ex-world champions that were literally dragged out of retirement. Like, I think all of them would admit it. Who's the Italian one that does the commentary? Is he Italian? That's also like a PT. He's a nutritionist as well.
Algeria. Yeah.
A guy with, I think he's American, but he's got a Mexican name, not Ortiz or Ray. He fought another guy that's,
Mora.
No. He was like a world title challenger. I think he fought him after Algeria. But these are good guys and good names.
Oh yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
And then there was the Finnish guy. The Finnish guy that was, I think, an IBO champion. And
you're talking about the South African guy.
Is he South African?
Van something.
No, Chris Van Heerden. No, there was. I feel like there was a Finnish guy too that had fought Sean Porter once, and that was.
Yeah. That was one. That was the fight just before he was going to face Chris.
And they didn't mention the fact he didn't win a round against Sean Porter. It was just he was in the ring with him. Well, loads of journeymen have been in the ring with loads of high-level fighters. But I'm not here to support Liam Smith for the whole time, but can you tell me what they're talking about? I don't think he punches harder than Liam Smith. Liam Smith's like a solid break you down, but chop down the tree puncher.
Trainers are going to say what they need to say to get their fighters high up. They're going to say what they need to say to get the fighters recognition.
Do you think it was that? I feel like they meant it. I think they believed it and they meant it. Tony Sims doesn't strike me as one of those just, says anything for the clout or the fame kind of stuff. If it was his son, Charlie, fine.
He isn't, but he also knows that Conor Benn check is going to be generational. So guess what? I'm also going to chat whatever nonsense I need to get an extra bit of pay-per-view sales in.
Yeah.
He's going to say it. But, speaking of title fights, you've also got one more grievance that you spoke of a recent Matchroom fighter. And now, I believe, is it GBN that this...
She's just on loan. She's on loan.
She's on loan to GBN, but go on. What's your grievance on Miss Terry Harper?
Yeah, it's just about Terry Harper. Firstly, for balance, I want to say congrats on the homecoming. I think any fighter, any sports person wants to perform in front of literally their family and friends. It must be
what stadium is it?
The Doncaster Rovers one. It's sponsored by someone, so it's got whatever Egotricity Stadium or something like that. But good on her. It's amazing. I can't put myself in her shoes in any sport. Can you imagine like walking out and literally people you went to school with, maybe your school teachers are there like watching you on the other side of the barriers when you're doing your ring walk, and you see your family and your friends, and they haven't had to spend $1,000 going to Vegas. They're just like they've got a taxi to the arena.
Local, yeah. Listen, they're probably going to grab a beer with her after the match.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It must be incredible. And you've been going there your whole life, and now you get to stand in the centre. But she got offered £250,000 or £300,000 to fight Caroline Dubois, and I don't want you talking about inches in front on computer screens. Thank you very much. Keep that.
Pause.
Yeah, or big or little pause, whatever. Talk to yourself. Yeah,
excellent pause.
But yeah, 250, 300 grand. I think Ebony Bridges said that she once got 30 grand for a title fight. So even with more money in this, like she openly said it. I think it was the one to the Japanese or Korean girl. What's her name?
Was that the one just before she became pregnant?
Yeah, like second, that fight. So clearly, women's boxing, unless you're Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, you're not getting huge.
Clarissa Shields, put respect on Clarissa.
Yeah, big. I'm
one of the best promoters in boxing, because as much as some people, she's polarizing, but one thing you have to say is that girl made sure that you lot know her name.
And if you give me 20 minutes, I'm happy to speak about Clarissa Shields just on that topic, because she is wildly disrespected, because people don't like her. I'm not going to just get into colour, but people don't like her because she's confident and young, whatever the other reasons are, because all I'm going to say is 2-time Olympic champion. I don't even know how many weight classes, and I think it's like 18 world titles she's got now. People can say that she doesn't fight good competition, but she's just literally whooping people live and direct on TV constantly. Savannah Marshall, I'll come to your country, the Queen will die, I'll have to go home, I'll then come back, and then I'll put a spanking on you. And there was none of this, it was a close fight, or did Savannah get
no, that was we went to that 5-hour call.
Yeah, great, you're right. And another thing I forgot, she violates people when she came out in USA colours dancing to the ring. That is an utter violation, because I think I looked at you and said, she has to win this fight now, because you can't be dancing like you know the guy from KFC and looking like that and bowling to the ring.
Are you going to say she came out like the Colonel?
Yeah, Colonel Shields, and you can't be doing that and then and lose, and she whooped her. But yeah, back on Terry Harper, 250 to 300 grand offer, I think they discussed on Twitter. It was like openly spoken about, and she said it wasn't enough. Echo Park Stadium, I wasn't far away, and she said it wasn't enough, or there wasn't enough time. But now she's headlining at the Doncaster Rovers Arena with Reece Mould on the undercard and Tycee Gallagher, rather than fighting at the Royal Albert Hall against Caroline.
Fair, she done the right thing, and what I mean by that is she done the right thing only because she may not get another opportunity to, fight in Doncaster like this. And, she might potentially feel like, I could lose my belt. So guess what? If I can potentially lose my belt, let me get this fight out of the way. And then anything after, and then it's like anything after we can do another time.
You are completely correct, and that is exactly it. She's going to lose. But what I don't want to hear is her saying, after this fight, I'm up for unifications, and then mentioning Caroline Dubois' name, as if, firstly, Boxer didn't put a good offer out, and secondly, Caroline isn't going to put a monumental beating on her. She is going to batter her. And if anyone doesn't agree, please text me, get in touch. We'll put bets on when the fight is on, because Terry Harper should be.
We'll get your socials at the end of this. We're closing out soon, so we'll get your socials for
2 rounds. Caroline Dubois is making her look silly. She's going to stand her on her head. Caroline Dubois, let me finish to say, she's going to be the second best fighter after Clarissa Shields. She's going to be the best female fighter Britain's ever produced by the end of her career. I will stand on that. She is 24. Is she 135?
135, yeah.
She'll go up to 140, 147.
What belt has she got now again?
WBC.
WBC. it's funny because there was someone else who was, you know, had their own controversy with a drug scandal, being Alicia Baumgardner, who was dominated at 130. She was meant to come up 135, and we ain't heard her since. All we've just seen is more Instagram posts. But, you know, the story for another day. No disrespect to Miss Baumgardner. She put on a show when we went to see her in London, so shout out to her. But on a closing note, 135 division. Has excitement now gone, and 140 is the excitement where, well, 140 and 147, because obviously, you know, we'll make this quick, but they're doing a big press conference, I think, commencing right now, where you've got that wanker Teofimo facing Barbosa.
The takeover.
You've got I'm gonna try to refrain from calling that prick any more other things. You got that prick fighting, then obviously you got the other prick, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, in Garcia versus Rolly Romero. So it's the battle of the CTE forts. And then obviously you've also got the returning Mr. You better get back in blood, Devin Haney. Now, what's interesting is Devin Haney's going to be fighting at welterweight, if I'm correct.
Oh, okay.
I believe so, because I believe his opponent wants to move up as well. And for me, honestly, him and Garcia should be at welterweight. They've both. I don't even think Garcia's ever made 140. Even his scheduled fights at 140, he's coming overweight. Go up to welterweight, the both of them, because even though, listen, Devin Haney's a professional that's made weight, but we've seen you looking, you know, dry and skinny at the weigh-ins. Go to 147. I understand, obviously, on his side, it's like the power's not there to be as threatening, but health-wise and legacy-wise, you've got a belt at, you know, you became undisputed at lightweight. You got a WBC belt at 140, and then
she does.
Shout out to Ra.
And I just, sorry to cut you off, that knockout from Aleem. Yeah, is it Turhan? Did you see the fight? Have you not seen
I didn't see it. Ra, let us know if you saw that. But
it's if you get the time, go on. It was on the Matchroom before the bell, and it lasted 1 minute. She fought this Irish woman called Shauna Brown or O'Keefe. I think she's married. She was an Irish woman that fought in Australia and came back.
So is Eddie hiding her from Terry Harper as well then?
Yes, and Aleem apparently, it's a great story, had been messaging Eddie Hearn for 3 years, her and her management, saying, give me a shot, give me a shot, give me a shot. Watch, I'll prove to you. Gets the shot. So first, like 30 seconds, Shauna throws a few jabs, looks okay, and then she just gets her feet into the range and just catches her on the end with this left hook. Throws the same left hook, hurts her, throws the same left hook, just misses. Third time, bang. Knocks it she tries to get up and her face goes on the floor. She, you know, when a fighter's like, oh, don't stop it, and just has no clue what's going on for about a minute. It was for a female boxer, you do not see that often. It was a really, and I can't say if she'll beat Caroline Dubois because all I know about her is she's got a great left hook and she's clearly got power. But in terms of anything else about her boxing, I think she knocked her out in 49 seconds. I mean, that was after the 10 count, so we've seen nothing. But yeah, she's going to get to Terry, and I pray for Terry because I do not want to see her lights get switched out when she's standing up like Alicia did to. I think that's the best knockout I've ever seen from a woman.
Oh yeah, that was the hit. The shutdown.
Going to start doing the stanky leg, like it was crazy.
She hit the shutdown button like it was Windows 98. Oh yeah, dun dun.
Yeah,
but listen, on that wonderful note, we're going to have to give it a close. But Ashanti, once again, thank you for you know, regular appearance, you know, opinions always appreciated. And like I said, he messaged me straight away off of the weekend with his grievances, and what a better place to let them grievances out. So thank you once again. And to the viewing audience, thank you. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, comment. Where Ashanti, give them your socials just before we depart.
I think I'm Ashanti_GF on Twitter, or X as they now call it, but I don't want to give Elon Musk any money. So
yes, Twitter it is. So look out for Ashanti. If you've got any, you know,
any bets, always a bet.
Any bets or anything that he said you don't like, let him know. But people, stay tuned in and stay weighed in. We're out.
It's another band. All the Muslim cars now, whichever get up. Light up my scars with a sweet one, please. Someone flicks me a bag, baggy. So